Good evening. Tonight is Tuesday, July 8th, 2025. I'll call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. Thank you all for being here, councilors. Thank you, staff. Thank you, members of the press, and thank you, members of the audience. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Councilman Jason Gonzalez.
Present.
Councilman Brent Jaramillo. Councilwoman Luis Gallegos. Here. Councilwoman Tina Gonzalez. Here. You have a forum, Mayor.
Next item is Pledge of Allegiance. Jesus will pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Montoya. Next item is approval of the agenda.
Mayor, I'd like to make a change to the agenda, if we could, on item 12, add 12B to address additional limited personnel matters, please.
I'll second that.
Mayor, may I ask and maybe add what the subject would be about?
Limited personnel.
Limited.
Yeah.
Any other changes?
Motion to approve with change.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Gallegos, second by Councilwoman Gonzalez. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Next item is approval of the minutes, regular council meeting, June 2025.
Yes, Mayor, again, I apologize to you, Mayor, and my fellow councilors for not being able to attend the meeting last time, in person or virtually. So there was some things in the minutes under matters from mayor and council members that I believe warrant further discussion. So I'd like to table that. I'm not comfortable with some of that being on record.
I have a motion to table the minutes from June 24th, 2025. Do I have a second? Second, I have a motion by Councilwoman Gonzalez, second by Councilwoman Gallegos. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Ayes have it. Next item is public comments. We allow 3 minutes for public comment. However, since your issue is not on the agenda, we can't address those issues tonight, but we can direct staff to address those issues in a future council meeting. Anyone for public comment? Anyone calling this week for public comment?
No, Mayor, no one called in for public comment this evening.
Mr. Halloween.
Jason, put your, could have sworn you were on the roof. Joseph.
Not this meeting.
Let the record show that Councilman Jaramillo is in attendance as of 6:04. And we'll close public comment at 6:04. Next, we have a public hearing variance for Delfino Gonzalez Jr. and Leo Gonzalez requesting a special exemption 55 Herrera Road.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is somewhat of a unique situation. Initially, Mr. Gonzalez, Mr. Delfino Gonzalez and Mr. Leroy Gonzalez wanted to be on the agenda to bring before you a variance request for special exception due to hardship. This is the property that the residents burned down up off of Herrera Road. And initially they were going to ask for permission to place an RV there for Mr. Leroy Gonzalez to live in while they decided how and where they were going to build a new residence. Mr. Delfino Gonzalez eventually nominated his daughter, Deborah Jackson, to speak on his behalf. And when I told her that we were going to go through the motions for the variance, like putting the ad in the Taos News and running it for 2 consecutive weeks, that was okay. But since then, they've changed their mind. They have decided, Mr. Delfino Gonzalez has decided that he doesn't want to do anything at this point. So they're kind of up in the air. So we didn't remove it from the agenda because it has already been advertised for public comment or public hearing in the paper. So we wanted to just bring it before you and let anybody in the public comment or say anything pro or con regarding the variance at this time. So I stand for any questions.
So that's why it was not under the action items, because I thought that was kind of strange. I thought,
Yeah,
okay, well,
Yeah.
that explains it.
yes, exactly. You're welcome.
So I'll open up the public hearing at 6:06. Anyone have any comments on this request that we have received? I'll close public comment at 6:07. Next, we have variance for Jake and Irene Montoya requesting special exemption, New Mexico State Highway 38.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This evening, we have in our audience Mr. Jake Montoya Jr., who has been selected by his parents to speak on their behalf. Mr. Montoya and Mrs. Montoya are requesting a special exception variance to build approximately 10 RV spots and a 60 by 100 metal building on their 5.744 acres located in the village of Questa along State Highway 38. And I believe in your packet, you have a map to show you the location of the said property. I also have in my possession here, the evidence of legal notice in the Taos News that it ran for 2 consecutive weeks. That property is currently zoned as agricultural open space. These types of uses are permitted if the governing body, in their opinion, decides that the proposed use is not offensive or incompatible with keeping of the character of the neighborhood or area. So I would like to bring Mr. Jake Montoya Jr. up, and he can explain what their plans are for the property, and then we'll stand for any questions. Do you need verification from his parents that he's elected and spoke?
I think we
We believe
I
you.
think we can believe it.
We know he's their son.
No, there's
You had him on standby,
question.
just in case.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. How are you this morning? This afternoon? So what I'd like to do here is now that I've been working in Los Alamos, and things have been going fairly good for me, what I'd like to do is I've always wanted to give back somehow to the community. So my sister lives in Santa Fe, and now that she has her nieces, my nephews that come here during the winters and, just to visit, I've noticed that there's not a whole lot to do here, especially in the winter. So when I was younger, I know the things that I used to look up to and always want to do was play basketball. So as soon as there was lights were turning on and the older guys were playing town teams, that's the first thing. Dad, the lights are on. I would take me to the gym. But now I realize that we don't have that anymore. There's no town teams. There's really no place for anybody to do anything unless you're actually playing in some sort of a team or something. So basically what I would like to do is I'd like to see in the metal building, I put that 60 by 100 just because that's the biggest that I think that that's the biggest that would fit there. Not to say that that's the size that I would like to use. What I'd like to do is once I would get permission, if I was granted permission, then I would like to look into it more and see what size I would actually need, what size would be there. I'd like to get maybe some engineering plans, and move forward that way to make sure that everything is done the correct way. So that would be what I would want to do is put maybe like a fitness center in the front part of it. And then towards the back end, I'd like to make where there's a couple baskets, maybe some volleyball nets, something just for the kids, where the parents could actually take the kids, maybe get a workout, and then not have to worry, where the kids at, where my kids at, or I can't take them. So that's kind of what I was looking at. That's the idea that I was kind of putting around just to see if it's something that the community would want or need. So that's something that I would like to do there. As far as the RVs, I think it's just something that I have a little spare on the side. I know the contractors for granite are right in that area. So I was thinking 10, like I say, that's the most I would fit. Right now, I think I measured it, there's 5 that would fit. So it's not something like I want to make it into an RV park or something. It's just I'd like to use that extra space. Plus, having them there, I think would be something that I would not have to worry so much about with people breaking in or graffiti or something on the actual building. So, and I'd really like to make it into like a nice little place. Being that it's right off the highway. So, so really that's the plan that I have for that.
Counselor.
Mr. Montoya, thank you for being here this evening and giving us an explanation of what your plans are. I think you have a very great vision and you're wanting to get back to the community is admirable. I do have a question concerning, I believe that was swampland before, and how much swamp is still there, how much have you filled in, and what is like their guarantee that everything will be good?
So I know there's a section there that has been redone, and that was by Bobby Vigil. So what they did was they removed a lot of that and they filled it in with backfill. So his plans was to make a restaurant there. So I did add about 3 feet, maybe even 4 feet of dirt to the side of it. So there's a lot of backfill, and that's something that before I even move forward with doing anything, I'd like to speak with the county and see, because I think that they have to come in and actually tell me if there's something that could be done there as well. So that's something that I'd like to, make sure that everything is correct, the correct way. So that's something that I'd like to speak with I think they have an engineer that they send out, and then they come out and tell me what needs to be done. So.
Yeah, Councilwoman Gallegos, he would have to go through the rural addressing department and have a floodplain determination signed off by the county.
Okay, so you don't have a current address?
No.
Because, okay. Very good, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Montoya?
Mayor, one question. It doesn't sound like you have any water needs or is any drinking water needs at this point, or potable water?
I would like to get that in there. I think that's one thing that I have to do is get an address before I could actually move forward with that. So that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to go through the proper steps, is to make sure that I have, that place does already have, the electricals was installed there previously. And they do have, connections for sewer. And that, from what I was told, was connected into the village. So I'm not sure, that's something that I have a question, I have a question also. But Bobby Vigil explained to me that when they were actually doing these sewer systems, that he paid extra out of his own pocket to get it connected there. So that's something that.
I think I remember that when I worked for the village, they hooking up to the sewer.
Yeah, because there's sewer line and it runs right in front of the Vigils, more in that little section on the corner, so.
Yeah,
But I don't-
You're right, I think I ran back down
Into that area.
to the hills.
If I could add, Councilman Jaramillo, we've done a preliminary investigation with Public Works, and John has located a sewer stub out close to that property, and municipal water supply would be available as well.
And I think Leroy Romero actually paid Leroy to extend it for the village, so Leroy might remember that because of the different elevation, we've got, Joey Vidal was a superintendent at the time. And so, I think, we paid Leroy to go do the work.
He did mention that it was Leroy Romero that did the work for him. So.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think that's who John verified with.
Yeah.
I think it's an awesome Montoya, awesome idea, Mr. Montoya.
Thank you.
I'm excited. I hope it all comes to fruition.
Yeah, I hope so. And I've always said, I've always thank God for putting me in good positions, right? He has me in Los Alamos and I'm doing pretty good up there. So it's something that I said, you know what, it's something I want to get back now. So it's my time.
Just the other day, my hubby was telling my son, you gotta put shots in. There was this guy, Culebra, and every time they passed by, he was outside shooting hundreds of shots. And it's like, yeah, there's nowhere for the kids now to do that. So if we want a winning Wildcat squad,
Yeah.
they need a place to go
And the
shoot.
thing is there's so much talent here. There's so much talent. And I listen to people in Los Alamos that tell me they have programs in Escalante and they have programs all over. And I'm like, dang, how come we don't have any here? So I'm like, I think the first thing that we would need is some place where they could actually do something.
Yes,
So, yeah, I thank you.
it's exciting. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Montoya?
No, man.
Okay, I'll open up the public hearing at 6:17. We have
Motion
any,
to approve.
hold on, we're not,
Open or close?
no, we
Sorry.
we haven't opened up the public hearing yet, so we have to open up the public hearing. And
Oh, I thought that was.
anyone here from the public want to comment? Dylan, Michael. Mm-hmm. So we'll close public comment at 6:17. We'll move on to action item, discussion, consideration, decision variance for Jake and Irene Montoya requesting a special exemption on Mexico Highway 38.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Jaramillo, second by Councilwoman Gallegos. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Councilman Jason Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilman Brandon Jaramillo,
Yes.
Councilwoman Luis Gallegos,
Yes.
Councilwoman Katrina Gonzalez.
Yes.
Thank you, councilors. Next item is discussion, consideration, decision, out-of-state travel for Valerie Vigil, Naleo, in Atlanta, Georgia.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have included in your packet my travel for Naleo. This is part of the program that I was accepted into when I was asked to be part of it by Mayor Ortega. The first one was when Karen and I traveled to Los Angeles. Karen can't go this time, so I will be traveling alone. And this time, the program will be in Atlanta, Georgia. The tickets are covered for the hotel expenses and the travel there, so the airfare. And all I have to pay for is the baggage check-in, the airport parking, and then one night stay in Atlanta, which will be Thursday night to Friday. And then the meals. And the conference is from Monday, July 21st, and I will return on Friday, July 25th. I stand for any questions.
I'm sorry if I missed something you said earlier, you guys were talking.
That's okay.
So what is the nature of this travel?
It's for
I know it's for
Naleo.
Nideo, but specifically to learn, training for something.
So it's for, they started a program there. And so they basically took people, so like the elected officials, mayors and stuff were able to invite people to be part of this program, and then they get accepted into the program, and they learn about leadership. They learn about, the last time we went was how to enhance small businesses within the village of Questa, and well, not specifically in the village, but
Right.
in areas, and it's from Las Vegas, New Mexico, and Arizona. And so, and then of course, like Mayor Ortega was there because he's part of the board.
Yeah.
And so the last time I went to LA with Karen, we learned about small businesses, how to enhance them in your areas. What else was there? There's a big component about education and how we can enhance kind of combining education and local government and how to make it better. The agenda for this one, it did come out, it's preliminary, but there is a big educational part of it as far as, again, how to enhance local government with the education system, the schools and stuff. There is a leadership component to it. And then kind of just learning about elected officials and your role in your community. And so that's basically what the gist of this one is. This is their annual conference. So it is open to what I'm assuming to just NALEO members in conjunction with us, the program. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor, but I believe there is about like 30 of us in this program. And there's a few of us from Questa, a few of us from Taos, Albuquerque, Pecos, and a bunch of small cities, small town people in these big cities. So unfortunately, Kara can't go this time. And I will be traveling with the clerk from, her name is Diana. She's the clerk or the deputy clerk from Espanola. So we were able to travel together to this.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Ms. Vigil?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilman Jaramillo, second by Councilman Gonzalez. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Councilman Jason Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Brent Jaramillo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Louise Gallegos.
Yes.
Councilwoman Katrina Gonzalez.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next is discussion. So I asked for a couple of discussion items on the Questa solar project. So we've been talking about this for a little bit as green hydrogen, but what we want to do, or what we're proposing, that the village actually buys the 50 or gets a grant to pay for the 50 megawatts of solar to feed the green hydrogen plant. That in turn will, then in turn with that solar we produce, we can sell that and it will turn commit a constant revenue stream for the village between 2.1 and 2.5 million annually. We're applying for a lot of grants to try and get that done. Just so we want to see that done. That will help us at least stabilize our budget for the next 20 to 25 years, if not longer. So we've been spending a lot of time I've been spending a lot of time the last couple of weeks. We spoke to, I think I might have did you last meeting, but I spoke to Legislative Finance Committee about it. We've had several meetings. We actually have a follow-up with Legislative Finance Committee, but just what we're seeing in with that revenue income, that's just the sale of electricity. That's not talking about the GRTs. I'm trying to see, I have the,
So Mayor, this project is separate from the green hydrogen project, is that correct?
yeah, well, it's the same project, which this is the solar component.
To the green hydrogen.
Yeah. So we are looking, and I think I told Karen about, just looking at the spreadsheet, somewhere in the neighborhood of about $300,000 a year in GRT to the village. The counties would actually be quite a bit higher, and the states would be quite a bit higher. So the reason I bring that up is because when we're requesting money from the state, like when we request capital outlay money, when we get money for roads, any capital outlay money, that doesn't, we get the word of that money, but it doesn't really return anything to the state as far as GRT. This one will have a return to the state in GRT. So that's why I want to talk about that and just discuss that a little bit with all of you and ask if you have any questions on that.
What would it estimated cost for that 50 megawatt solar project?
$50 million.
50 million. That does not include the green hydrogen.
That doesn't include the green hydrogen. So that, we're looking for grant funding on that. We don't want to,
Right.
there's no way we could even afford a loan on that. Well, the loan would probably pay for itself, but still, we want to take advantage of having that constant revenue stream to enhance our first responses, services, and even have money to match some of these grants that we do get. Some of the grants are pretty high.
Can you explain, Mayor, why is it that the village would get the least amount of GRTs out of this project and why we wouldn't be getting the most, seeing as how the location is set here in our village?
It's just how GRT is set up, and that's, we can go on to our next discussion item on that little bit, but it's the percentage. So our GRT is 8.565. And out of that, the state gets 5% of it. So off the top of it, the state takes 5% of our GRT
Of the eight.
of the 8.565, yeah.
And the county?
County gets 2%.
So that leaves us with 1.5.
That leaves us with 1.565.
Will there eventually be some sort of decrease to the constituents' utility bills?
It will stabilize the utility bills with the green hydrogen. The electric utility bill, I should say.
I don't think you should close option on taking up a long USDA loan.
Mayor and Council, if you look at the bottom right,
Right.
the 1.5625% is the Questa tax on the gross receipts tax. The next line, 2.1250 is the county, and the state is 4.875%, for a total of 8.5625%, which is our GRT rate in Questa.
So if you ever look at the rates for all the other municipalities within Taos County, we're the lowest. We're at 8.565. Town of Taos, Red River, and Taos Ski Valley, they're all over 9. They're all at 9.1 in that area. The county is lower actually because they're only having to pay, so they get the 7% total. Where, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, Councilman, but you guys get your 2%, just like you guys do out of the village, and the state gets their 5 or 4.8%. So the reason I added the second discussion item was because we're trying to think, and we're probably too late to do that this year, but we might need to start thinking about increasing our GRT. I don't think we need to go up to 9.9%, but maybe 1% or 2% just to. The other thing, and I'm gonna put it out there, is that we found out from the county that we're not gonna get the county GRT from the fire excise tax this year, so that's about $300,000 a year that we're gonna be missing out on. So we can figure out how to make up that money if we want to keep our paid firefighters. So that's what I'm thinking, that we need to start thinking about, maybe raising the GRT a little bit and find out what that percentage is. The other thing is that with the green hydrogen project and just the build out of it, we're looking at additional hundreds of thousands of dollars just on the build out.
Do we currently get gross receipts, and I know you've answered this before, but it's been a while, but do we currently get gross receipts from the contractors that are here doing work throughout the village or up at the mine site?
It's only for the work done within the village, so like The work done at the tailings facility, we get the GRT off of that. The work done at the mine site, we don't get GRT off of that.
Not even because they have their office in the village?
I think, the way I understand it, is if they're paying it, they're paying it where the work is done.
Where the work is done?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then trying
I
to-
didn't remember if it was, if they had an office in here, we were eligible, but that makes more sense where the work is actually being performed.
And I had the rough numbers too, just on the build out, the GRT that we're gonna get off the build out from the, trying to find it here real quick.
Mayor, what's the reason we're not getting that 300,000 for the fire?
The county needed the money to support their budget this year.
Was it taken away from all of the smaller municipalities?
So the way that initially worked was the town of Taos actually got the lion's share of it, so the town of Taos got 40%, and the other three municipalities got 8% each, so Red River got 8%, Questa got 8%, and Taoski Village got 8%. So my understanding is it's being taken away from all of us. Not taken away, it's just not.
Decreased.
I shouldn't say taken away is the wrong word, they're not.
Distributing it.
It's not gonna be distributed to us this year.
That's not the money that we get for the ambulance?
No, that's a separate pot.
Okay.
That's an MOU and that's still in play.
Okay.
Mayor and council, if I may. I did reach out to David Monteith from the Taxation and Revenue Department. And according to legislative session of 2025 and House Bill 218 signed by the governor, this gross receipts tax can only be increased once a year now. And we have to have all our paperwork in by March 31st for it to be effective July 1st. So we have missed a window for this year. So we can approve an increase in GRT anytime up to March 31st and turn it in.
But it won't take effect.
But it won't take effect until July 1st. He also said that the combined cap for municipalities is 2.50%. So since we have 1.5625%, we have available 0.9375% that can be increased on our tax, and that's without referendum, which means we don't have to take it to the municipality for a vote. If we want to increase it more, then it has to be on an election year for a vote from the people. And you have to have a specific reason why you're increasing that.
So the numbers I was looking at on the hydrogen is the tax impact GRT is gonna be 5.24 million on this study. Locally, the state's impact would be 11.617. And that's just the direct impact. There's also the indirect, like them buying products locally, putting gas locally, buying lunch locally. And when I say them, I mean the contractors. So that's something for a future meeting that we're gonna consider maybe taking action on. You know, we have an election coming up, but in the next year, we might want to consider taking action when we have a chance next year. Do y'all have any questions on any of that?
No, Mayor.
No, Mayor.
Mayor, that number is big. A big number. You're gonna have to pull out a good speech, man.
A Hail Mary, Mayor.
How much would that impact us, Karen, if we increase it by the allowable? Do you have that number
I do not have that number. I can tell you that.
annually? I guess, can you,
It could be 1%, almost 1%.
so,
It's a 0.9.
so we basically go from 8.565 to 8.75. Still be the lowest municipality in the county by far. But, I mean, just annually, how much are we getting GRT?
Well, I was looking out there, but I have to do some math. I can get some numbers for you for the next meeting.
Sounds good. I don't think 1% is too much of a hit on our consumers. But it's something we probably might need to do. Just sometimes we need to make tough decisions. Some of them are, sometimes it's increasing the GRT, sometimes water and sewer rates just to make ends meet. Which we're not talking about that yet either, so don't get misconstrued on that. But if there are no other further questions, we'll move on to matters from administrator.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I apologize for my voice. I'm fighting a sore throat or something. Our vac truck is expected to be delivered next week. Ms. Nicholson hired Carol Merriam for the library position. She started on July 1st. She does live in Questa. She has purchased property in El Rito and is building a home there. We had 4 applicants for the finance clerk position. One withdrew her application the day of her interview, and another did not yet have her accounting degree, which was one of the qualifications. We interviewed 2 people and hired Tiffany Segura. She will start on July the 28th. She's a young, vibrant woman who knows a lot about accounting, and she lives in Questa. She is related to Amy Lopez, our utility clerk. I did reach out to our attorney firm asking if there was an issue because of the relationship. They reviewed our policy and gave me the okay to hire her as long as the mayor agreed and I disclosed the relationship to you. So I'm doing that at this time. Angela Levy, who was working at the library, was one of the applicants for finance clerk, and she was interviewed. However, before I even made my decision, she decided that she didn't want to work full time. So we are going to, we have put her in the accounts payable part-time position here in the office. She began yesterday, and both of these ladies have accepted the salaries that I offered to them, and they are within the fiscal year 26 interim budget. There was a miscommunication about ownership of the vigas that are being removed at La Cienega during the demolition. Some vigas have been removed from the property by a local vendor, but have since been brought back. We're in the procurement process of getting them moved to the public works yard until they can either be used by the village or possibly sold at the fall auction. The ICIP was due on Friday, this Friday, July the 11th. However, Mr. Laforet submitted it on July 2nd. And we thank you for aiding us in early submission. It surely helps this week not to be so stressed out to get it done. A reminder that we will not have the regular meeting on July 22nd. However, we will have a special meeting to approve the fourth quarter financial report and the fiscal year 26 final budget on Tuesday, July the 29th. I did send out a calendar invite to every one of you. And I will remind you again when we send out the packet that we will have the final items, BAR's financial quarterly report and the final budget. I stand for any questions.
Madam Administrator, thank you so very much for for the good work that you're doing and your leadership and all the hirings, and I'm glad you reached out to the attorney concerning that relationship, because that is a big concern. But yeah, looks like you dotted all your i's and crossed all your t's, so thank you for that.
No question here.
I have no questions.
Any more questions?
Next item is matters from mayor and council.
My question was the finance director, and that was already answered, and the Vivas was already answered in her report. So, I guess I have no questions right now, Mayor.
I got a couple of comments that, regarding water at 2 locations. One at the Questa Park, where we can, have water accessibility for the kids that play there or anybody, Vita camps that are there. I know we have a water spigot, but I think it's locked, right?
Is it locked?
Or shut off. I know it's not available. And then the fiestas, we had a really good turnout for the past 3 years, and it's dry down there, man. It's really dry. We need some sort of spigot or some sort of water. I know putting up nice stuff like that in your susceptible to damage, because they've already busted into that dang dugout again, right? Where I got the dugout with the announcer booth.
Yeah.
It'd be great if we just had like a water source down there. We had a little donkey booth and we opened it up there for the kids, and man, they just loved it for about a good hour. What else was gonna mention? Oh, I already spoke with you. I spoke with probably a couple others over here regarding the La Cienega demolition. 2 local contractors called me, very upset that they didn't get an opportunity to get a bid on that. I just think that as we move forward, if there's an opportunity for a local contractor to get hired, that we go ahead and look to try to get them hired.
I'm all for
And
that.
you gave me your answer, and I told them to call you. They did it, so
And I'm all for hiring local contractors, so.
yeah.
If they have their contracting license and business license and, well, of course, we have to go through procurement on it all, but also as long as they have their asbestos mitigation and lead pipe mitigation training and are certified and trained to get rid of that, I had no problem hiring them. I just didn't know that there was anyone locally that had that asbestos mitigation and lead pipe certification, but not lead pipe, lead paint.
Well, Mayor, I think we probably all know that Kears is probably going to be the only ones that are available to do that one. I'm talking about the destruction of the building, if that. Asbestos and lead paints have been taken care of.
They could have submitted a bid, just like all the other, it was advertised throughout the state, county and the state, it was pretty well advertised that we were gonna be doing that.
According to them, they said it was.
Okay, thank you, Councilor.
Along the lines of water at the park, what can we do about getting maybe some permanent trash cans? It may be worth mentioning to the school, getting them involved with the welding program to do something that can't be taken, but is still available to be able to just throw trash and clean up a little bit. During the fiestas, I had 3 people talk about that at the parks, so I think that'd be a great idea. The retired firefighters, they were asking for government issued IDs. I believe this process started in January and we still haven't received that. Can anybody give an ETA for that?
They're pretty easy to order. When I was told to order them, I was told to get everybody's pictures. And unfortunately, Max Ortega, he's been really good at communicating, but not everybody has come. I can process the ones that I have. It takes maybe 3 to 5 business days for them to come in. And that way, at least the ones that have submitted can actually get their IDs if that would help. I've gotten about 7 or 8 items.
Yeah,
People that have submitted their photo, maybe 9 now.
I think that'd be great. They've given a lot to our community and it would be nice for them to be able to use that.
Yes.
I think that's all I had.
Ms. Shannon, is there one question?
The only thing I have is, we did get the official award for the expansion of the wastewater treatment plant. We had a meeting about that today, so we have some work to put in to get that moving, but we're hoping we can get that done in the next year or so. We did find out from, ONRT that they put, they got 300,000 in capital outlay for us to do a match on the well and on the well house. So we were pretty excited about that, myself and Ms. Shannon, because that was about what our match was, but we also need to get money to complete the project. So we're gonna be applying for the Water Trust Fund money to get that as well. I did ask all of you a little bit earlier if you're available for a special meeting next Monday. We didn't know until earlier today that we need a resolution for our local election now in November, and it needs to be done by next Tuesday. So time is of the essence. We need to get that resolution in on Monday. So if you're all available Monday at 5, we'll have one action item on the agenda and get that hopefully approved. I don't know what happens if we don't approve it. I don't know if that means that we're all stuck here. Another couple of years.
That's Monday the 14th at 5 p.m.
At 5 p.m., yeah. Baptiste Kuhnen is coming next week or from ST to meet about the project, talk about that a little bit more about the housing projects. Looks like they want to move forward on that project, start off with 15 to 20 houses and affordable housing, from what I've seen in their planning, workforce housing, and that's just phase 1. If they think it's going to be good, they'll build up to 60 homes.
Where's the location there?
They're looking at property adjacent to the business park. They're looking at doing a couple of other projects as well that will be key to the community. So we're looking forward to that as well. That's all I have. Anyone else have anything else to add? Can I entertain a motion to go to executive session? So,
Second.
motion by Councilman Gonzalez, second by Councilwoman Gallegos. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Councilman Jason Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Brent Jaramillo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Luis Gallegos.
Yes.
Councilwoman Katrina Gonzalez.
Yes.
Let's go into my office. Dylan, you say this is your dad? Couple. Your grandfather? Nice to meet you, sir.
Proud grandfather. More than residents.
Huh?
More than residents.
You resident?
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the area.
From Mississippi, Southern California, 2017, that's it. And Rio Ranch. Been here since 2012.
So we have to.
When I got here, I think it was 2011, it was 18 to 12 years.